I read the first book and I was so taken by the character. I just automatically loved Anna. She's a bit of a lone wanderer and she's afraid to make herself vulnerable. I think we really set out to allow people to experience that feeling of awe, that you have when you're in the national parks. I love Lea and I love working with her.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to welcome Morwyn Brebner to the podcast. How you doing, Morwyn?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here.
So excited to talk to you about Anna Pigeon. For those of you watching and listening, Morwyn is the showrunner for Anna Pigeon that is premiering on August 7th on USA Network. So excited to talk to you about this project.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled it's coming out, and I'm so thrilled to be able to just connect a little about it.
So Lea Thompson, who is very involved in this project, even directed, I know the first episode and maybe wrapped it up this season as well.
Yes.
She optioned the rights to this project quite a while back, I guess more than a decade. So I'm curious, how did you get involved in this project?
I did come through. Lea had the rights to Anna Pigeon, which is about, it's a series of books. There are 16 of them by an amazing writer named Nevada Barr. And I'm hoping that the first of her books has just been reissued with Tracy Spiridakos' beautiful face as Anna Pigeon on them. So if you're in a bookstore, pick it up, Track of the Cat. Lea had optioned the books, and I think there had been a few attempts to make them. And then they were at USA, and one of the producers on the show, a producer named Todd Berger, brought me in to see if it would be a good chemistry. And I read the first book and I was so taken by the character. I just automatically loved Anna. She's like all the things you want to be, and all so relatable in the way that she's vulnerable. She's gone through something really hard that she's trying to overcome. She's reinvented herself as a park ranger. And she's got these qualities that, for me, I wish I had. She's kick-ass. She goes towards danger. She loves an underdog. And I read the books and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do these books. I want to tell the story. And it's in nature, which is, in the national parks, which is the most beautiful setting in the world. Our show is set in Glacier, but the books are set all across the national parks. And I just felt this incredible desire to do these books and adapt them. And then I met with Lea. We had a Zoom meeting, and she was so warm and wonderful and had such passion for the books and had shepherded them, through this incredible long time to, bring them into fruition, and had seen the value and the gold in them. And I just felt like it was a beautiful relationship to enter into, and it was a beautiful project to take on.
These books have such a devoted fan base. So I'm curious, why do you think now is the right time for this project to come to us on USA?
I think that's such a good question. I think things come in and out of the zeitgeist, worlds come in and out of the zeitgeist. And right now, what I feel, and I think we all feel, is we all with the rise of AI and, being so attached to the algorithm and these artificial worlds that are coming at us all the time through our screens, I think people do feel a real desire to connect with nature and to be part of the natural world. And we are part of the natural world, So I think the setting is something that is unbelievably in the zeitgeist right now. And I think, I went to Glacier National Park right before we started shooting. And I really felt this sense of awe of nature, that you go and I read about this thing and I tried to put it in the show and I couldn't figure out a way to put it in because it seemed too intellectual, but there's a thing called soft fascination, which is what we feel when we're in nature. And it's like you're paying attention to everything, but it's not hard. And I felt like that aspect of that sort of, I don't know, amazing, miraculous aspect of nature is something that right now feels really vital. And I feel drawn to it, and I think a lot of people do. So I think that's a moment that we're in that the show really, really speaks to.
This show is beautiful. I've seen the first episode. It was gorgeous to look at. And like you said, anybody that's been to any of our national parks just know how blessed we are to have them. So as you were starting to study the books, did you start imagining how they would be translated onto our screens?
I really did. It was one of the first things that I know that Leah and I talked about because Nevada Barr is a great writer of nature. Like she really describes nature so beautifully and the experience of like Anna being in nature, like Anna's so unafraid of nature. Like she goes, like she's not afraid of danger. She's not afraid of being alone. And if she is afraid of them, she just like is able to confront it. And I felt like that the truth of nature was that is that sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes it's scary. And so it was trying to say, like, how do we really show nature for what it is, which is this wonderful realm that is that we exist in and sometimes are overwhelmed by, but other times are really healed by. And so we tried for every episode, that's like a long way around it, but every episode, what we decided is that we would have like a poetic moment with nature.
Mhm. Yeah,
And that was something we could do. And, like really allow the audience to like feel and live in the setting with Anna.
absolutely. So, Nevada, I believe each book was kind of like its own adventure.
Yes.
So, what was the biggest challenge for you in taking these books and then deciding how to adapt them to this project?
Oh my goodness. Well, the first thing was like which park,
Oh,
because
yeah.
because Anna goes everywhere, and we chose Glacier. And then we shot in outside of Calgary in a place called Bragg Creek. We shot on this back lot. We didn't have a studio. We were inside, outside all the time. And there was a river that ran through it. And so once we made that decision and we knew we were going to shoot in this beautiful place, that was like the first decision. And uh, I mean, the books offer, I think it's like the hardest thing is to not try to pick too much, to distill it down to its essence and to say, like, what is like, we want people who know the books to love the show. And if you don't know the books, you can still love the show and maybe find your way to the books. And so it's like it's it's trying to serve both those aspects, I guess.
Finding that good balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, where does the story start? Help us get to know Anna Pigeon.
Well, when we first meet Anna, she's a ranger in Glacier. And we learn that, and I never want to spoiler it, but we learned that something in her past has happened that has made her leave the city and reinvent herself as a park ranger. And Anna's gone from park to park and she hasn't stayed, She's a bit of a lone wanderer and she's afraid to make herself vulnerable. And the first decision that she has to make is whether or not she's going to stay in Glacier. And so we meet her at this sort of crossroads. And then we get to know her. We get to know the people she's working with. She immediately has to solve a mystery that involves a death. And she reconnects with someone she knows from her past, a man from her past. And we sort of put her at the beginning of potentially a new adventure that's going to get her to reconnect with herself through committing to this beautiful place.
You mentioned people that she works with. There's a fantastic secondary cast. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those other characters that she's going to be engaging with often and maybe who even plays them?
Oh, okay. Well, she has a mentor-mentee relationship with a younger ranger named Zoe, played by Paulina Alexis, who is like a young, ambitious up-and-comer who Anna is sort of like, who decides that Anna's going to mentor her. And Anna, who has a push-pull relationship with being close to other people, she really wants it, but she also like has her own reserve, ends up being her mentee. Then we have who else do we have? We have an FBI agent that Anna knows from her past, played by Ronnie Rowe Jr., Frederick, who they have an interesting relationship and there's a warmth between them and also a hesitation. And what else do we have? We have Jeff Miller, who is her boss, and she has a very fractious relationship with him. And then he doesn't work, he's not a ranger. And we have Frida, who's our wonderful dispatcher, played by Crystal Lightning. And I'm trying to think who else. Oh my goodness. Well, there's someone, he doesn't work in the park, but Jeremiah Paulson, who becomes really, you see it in the pilot, but who's someone that Anna is not intimidated by, who intimidates everyone else, and who she is going to end up butting heads with in a very serious way throughout the season.
throughout, and that's similar to the books, correct?
Yeah, it's similar to the first book. Like the arc of the first season is really taken from Track of the Cat, and he is our
Got it.
bad guy. He's our, I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler to say. And the other characters, it was interesting because the books, they're different people she works with across the books. It was like trying to decide who belonged in this park right now. And we really tried to surround her with people who could bring out different aspects of her, and really create a little family that she becomes attached to and grows to love.
You mentioned filming on a back lot. So is there any shot in a studio? Is this
Not
all
a
on
one.
location? Wow.
Not a one. We do not have a single shot in a studio. It's the first time in my life I've ever shot with no studio. We have this beautiful backlot, and our amazing production designer created this. Like, there's the ranger camp, there's a beautiful ranger station that feels so real and is so homey and was the closest thing we had to a studio. And then we shot on location. And location scouting was like hiking. We'd be hiking around, for the pilot. Leah was looking for like the right vistas, and we would find the vistas. We trek out there, and you really get the sense of that immediacy in the show. It was really, really a unique experience. I would drive out, you would drive out to set in the morning, the sun would be coming up, painting those mountains red. It was incredible.
So you mentioned, Anna's pretty strong. She's got it together. She's tough. She's got her things she's having to work
Yeah.
through as well. So talk a little bit about the balance of the story. I know that I've seen episode one. It gets pretty intense, but it's a good balance. So what can viewers expect other than just this high stakes solve a murder or a mystery?
I think that the show is really a character show, and it's really about Anna. It's not a hardcore, show up and like and crime kind of show. It's a show really that is about Anna as a person as well. It's about, her sister Molly, played by Trisha Helfer, figures really strongly in the series, and that's a beautiful relationship. It's about Anna, there's some romance in the show. She's got some different romantic possibilities happening. There's a real warmth like between her and the characters who come into the park. There's different kinds of mysteries to solve that aren't just all hardcore, but there is action, there is excitement. Anna's really physical, so there's great, there's all kinds of cool, stuff to see that way, stunts and action. So we tried to make a balance where the show is like, you come for the show and it's really a good place to be,
Yeah.
and there is excitement, there are things that happen, it is dramatic, it does get intense, but fundamentally wanting to create a show that has like a real has a warmth to it.
We haven't mentioned who plays Anna. So tell us
Yeah.
who plays Anna and why she was the right person for this job.
Anna is played by Tracy Spiridakos, who many, many people will know from Chicago PD. She's just an incredible, incredible actor, one of the most wonderful collaborators, and just brilliant in the role of Anna.
And then we mentioned Lea Thompson
Yeah.
early on. She directs episode one, which kind of sets the stage, I think, for the
Yes.
vibe that you guys want to carry out throughout the season. What were you most excited for in having Lea direct that first episode?
Oh, I mean, I think it's such a balance of things. We had like a really like fascinatingly our producers on the ground were all women. And so we had this incredible group of women, and Tracy is such a like force as an actor, and so she can be vulnerable, she can be funny, she can be tough, she can be all the things, right? And Lea, coming from this background of being, not only a director who is bringing these beautiful vistas, but who comes from a background of being such a phenomenal actor herself, right? Is able to, I think she brought this sense of like, like all great actors do, this idea of like, we're going to live in the moment. And Tracy is someone who really just vibrates with truth in anything she's doing. And I think there was really, I think that Lea came in with the spirit of loving these books and loving the show. And Tracy came in with that. I came in with that. We all came in with that. And I think that it really has a good feeling. And Lea also really really wanted the vistas, which was something that's beautiful. And I say it all the time, but it's so special to the show,
Yeah.
and I also feel like Leah really identified like the show as a Western, which is really interesting. We got a lot of horseback riding. We have, I think Leah brought so much to the show, and I I love Leah, and I love working with her.
It feels very much like, even in just the first episode, that there is a desire to really focus in on that character and that story, but also really celebrate the national park and the national parks. Was that something that you guys really set out to do?
100%. I mean, I think that's such a wonderful thing you're identifying. Like the national parks, like you were saying, they're places where everybody goes, every walk of life, every kind of person. Some people are hiking with like poles, like, like they're going to climb Everest. And some people are just like walking around like, oh my goodness. And like, I think we really set out to allow people to experience that feeling of awe, that you have when you're in the national parks, experience that feeling of wildness, like it's always such a problem for shows now that have any kind of crime solving in it that you can call anybody anytime. And literally in Glacier, you cannot get cell service, like you can't do it. And the national parks are places where you're a little bit, it's outside our daily experience. It's so beautiful and so special.
Yeah. So, without giving anything away, what do you hope viewers take away most from this first season of Anna Pigeon?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. I mean, I think on the very top level, Anna is a kick-ass park ranger solving mysteries in the most beautiful place in the world. And that and alone is enough to watch. And I also think she's just a character. She roots for the underdog. She loves nature, and she's a lot of fun to be around. And I hope that people just tune into the show and fall in love with Anna. I think with Tracy in the lead, it's impossible not to. And that's my hope for the show.
Morwyn, it's been so good to talk to you and to get I always love to give everybody the behind the scenes on what's to come. Everybody watching and listening, I want to remind you that Anna Pigeon is going to premiere on USA Network on August 7th, 10 p.m. Eastern Pacific. Morwyn, thanks so much for taking the time to chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, bye-bye.